Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Max Sports. Damian Nelson here joining the show after two phenomenal segments featuring you, Frank Constantino. I guess you're really the star around here.
No,
Frank. Welcome to our viewers online, MaxSportsOnline.com.
There's something wrong with this chair. There is like Thorcaconda or Danaconda stink all over the thing. Who's been in my chair?
Danny Michael again joining us last week. Kendra DeSantoven joining us earlier this week.
Was she in this chair?
Because there was actually was in that chair, but
there was a hint of something.
Let's move into our talking points specific to World Wrestling Entertainment. First, Marty Jannetty was released. Not necessarily contracted, but he is no longer being used by WWE. Reason being, he's on probation. He's got to get approval from his PO every time he decides to travel somewhere. So while there hadn't been any problems, he typically didn't get that approval until 2 to 3 days before it was time to travel somewhere. So he took the WWE took the approach of, well, we can't count on him. Marty Jannetty completely agrees with the decision and hopes that eventually down the road he can have another chance with WWE. But apparently the storyline was going to advance a little more than it did. Now, smart decision, bad decision. Good decision, bad decision by WWE. Meathead.
I think it's a good decision by WWE. I think Marty Jannetty played it out correctly.
MJ.
He's going to go ahead and not burn this bridge. Okay, I understand. Let me just clear off my little bit of bad business. Once that's done and I can travel freely, call me. I'll call you. We'll work something out.
Maybe as long as the schedule is open to traveling anywhere, it's fine. You kind of knew where maybe that storyline was going to go.
Sure.
They could have gone in a couple of different directions. Maybe he turns on Shawn Michaels, whatever. Still could happen.
Barbershop.
Oh, exactly. So obviously there's legality to it, but it was kind of a welcome, kind of. You have.
Didn't we just see him about 6 months ago anyway?
Frank forgets. He's one of those
wrestling
fans.
But it was,
one of those fans who has a 6-month memory span.
But this was a little bit different.
How? I haven't been able to argue with you in 2 weeks, so go.
Were you not here last week?
He specifically had a segment with Vince McMahon, and that's what made it a little bit different. It wasn't.
Vince is still able to do the tricks that it was able to do years ago.
And that's what made it different.
Where'd you put it? You want me to help you look for it? Or?
Later.
Next talking point from WWE, Kane's movie See No Evil, scheduled to be released May 19th. Steve Austin's movie is in development, about a $20 million budget for WWE. 3 films in the works, the third being that of John Cena's called The Condemned, which was filmed in Australia, will be released, I believe, sometime in September. Mission Impossible 3 also being released at the same time as Kane's horror movie See No Evil. Chances for this movie to be successful now. When I say successful, I mean you look at the $20 million or so WWE might throw at it on the front end for production and marketing. Will it be effective? Which means will they make more than $20 million off of this movie, Meathead?
Before video?
Before video. And let's remember how right I was about Freddy versus Jason when you were adamant that it would not be profitable. And it was profitable by some $60 million.
That's a show long, long ago. Wasn't it PWR?
The prequel.
What are you talking about?
The prequel is booked. It is going to be released this October 13th, Friday 13th, the prequel.
The only movie I'm worried about
I will make no bets about that.
The only movie I'm worried about right now is Silent Hill. It's coming out within the next month or so.
Great. What about See No Evil?
See No Evil will be profitable by, I believe, $1.63.
It's worldwide. Thank you. Because of
yes, it is worldwide.
Worldwide, it'll do probably about 30, maybe 40. It'll double the 20.
What about opening weekend? What do you think?
Opening, 2 to 3.
It opens with 2 other movies that are supposedly good, and the following week Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible 3 comes out.
I would say the first week, 2 to 3 million. And then by the time
2 to 3? Movies don't open that low nowadays.
I think it will.
Yeah, because the ticket prices went up. That's why
I think it'll be around the $3 million mark, and then after it's said and done, worldwide, about 30 or 40 million.
Even with the wrestling fan curiosity, what drives The Rock's movies nowadays?
It's the first movie with Kane, or whatever you call it.
He's a star. It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie. Teens love the horror films. I mean, just look at the stupid movie that was just released, When a Stranger Calls, which could be one of the worst movies I've ever seen before in my life. Yet was profitable, made money, came out, I think, made about $15 million.
Horror movies are cheap to make, really.
Again, exactly, very cheap to make, and the profits just seem to roll in because your teens on a Friday night are going to go see a horror movie. There will be that curiosity about Kane's movie, if you will, because no matter what, it's wrestler Kane in a movie, no matter what it's sold as. However, it could actually end up being a good movie. Thus, WWE needs one moderate hit to simply rake in about $80, $90 million in profit. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be in the movie business?
Makes sense. All you have to do is set the 20 mil, make that, and whatever is gravy.
And they've probably already thrown it into Kane's contract or whatever superstar they're going to use into their contract. Oh, we'll throw you a movie deal too. What are they paying him? $1 million for that? $2 million for that?
How would a Shelton Benjamin movie do?
It depends.
He
Is
could be the
Shelton
new Jeff
Benjamin
Hardy.
being a mute?
You didn't watch wrestling when you were in Florida either.
Throw Mama from the train?
Wasn't Estelle Getty in that movie?
Yes,
Estelle
and
and Sylvester?
Danny DeVito.
Sherry Martel has been announced as the
No,
next
no, 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 no,
inductee
stop.
as the Hall.
That was not Estelle Getty.
No,
Your thing to stop her, my mom will shoot.
Yes.
Throw Mama from the train was Danny DeVito.
Debbie Crystal, and it was the woman that had a stroke, and she died, by the way. She was in Goonies.
She was she was the Goonies woman. Also was part of the Where's the Beef chicks. Where's the beef?
Sensational Queen, sensational Sherry Martel, the next inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. Surprising, but deserved, of course.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know the history of Sherry Martel. Sherry Martel, the woman, if you will, one of the first wrestling woman superstars. Now, there's Wendy Richter, there's the fabulous Moolah, but that diva superstar, wrestling superstar transition was made during the Sherry Martel days. Worthy induction or not, Frank?
Oh, definitely. She had the charisma also that went along with pretty decent wrestling at the time. And we all clamored to it. So
Clamored, use my word. Sorry, go
I'll
ahead,
pay
Frank.
the 10 cents.
She's well royalty.
Well deserved, and very well done.
Hey,
Well deserved. We've met Sherry before, and Sherry, she's still out there working. She's still out there working the independents. We've seen her in MAW a bunch of times. And Sherry, yeah, absolutely. Not only could she go in the ring, but she put a lot of guys over as far as wrestling. I mean, look at where would Shawn Michaels be without Sherry?
where would Harlem Heat be? Booker
my.
T anyways.
Yeah, well, Stevie Ray was hot.
And the Macho King. I mean, really, Sherry, whoever she attached herself to, they became stars.
Yep.
Sherry Martel inducted to the Hall of Fame. We'll be at the ceremony with live updates on MaxSportsOnline.com. Next, WWE announces their financials. They are gloating over the fact that they had a 61% increase in live event attendance, mostly driven by international events. The trend continues. WWE getting better and making more money by going overseas, where in general ticket prices are lower, pay-per-view revenues are lower, prices are lower, but still increasing their bottom line by the international business. Sound strategy or not, Frank?
Yeah, you've got to go where you're going to make money. Internationally is where they are doing it. Here, it just depends on what market they're hitting at the right time. But overseas, England, Australia, wherever they're at.
Where we have viewers nowadays, in the UK, even the Philippines.
Yeah,
popped up a few days ago.
the fans are there. And they
I am
show
looking
up.
for a wife.
1,
3.
WWE financials.
Oh, the Philippines, sorry. The financials, that's great. I'm glad to hear they're doing business. My company hasn't been doing business since 2001.
That's WCW. How was that trip to Panama City? Did you see the dent Big showed up when he got thrown off the roof and lived and came back next week?
I went to the club.
Did you
went
smell McMahon when you got there?
Yeah, there was a stink in the air. I went to the club where WCW died. I went there. And
It's a great day.
I brought a black rose.
It's a great day.
I cried.
Did it you die? Or was it already dead?
It's a black rose.
Oh. So is
Hey,
that
what
like
do you
a
call
fish
it?
on your porch
Hey,
on fire?
what do you call black
That's
violet?
actually a regular fire. You said it wrong, you don't. It's what do you call a black man flying an airplane?
What do you call a black violet?
You were saying $13.9 million in profit this past quarter, their final quarter of the fiscal year. I'm sorry, second to last quarter of the fiscal year. WrestleMania either starts or ends the next, I forget. But increase over $10.9 million last year. So WWE making more money, getting a little flack for the amount of cash they have on hand. Apparently, it's not good to actually have cash in business. More capital expenditures, more money going into the company by WWE. Upswing seems to be here again. Live event revenues, business-wise. Live event revenue is up significantly, both internationally and domestically. Pay-per-view revenues are up. Every pay-per-view in the quarter had more buys than prior year. Merchandise sales, amazing numbers, millions of dollars made. $9 million, I believe, is the number made on WWEshop.com just in the quarter. So certainly experiencing a tremendous business swing in professional wrestling
Business.
is WWE, yes.
Business.
Right, what they could do business-wise is take maybe 5 or 10 mil and then give it to Triple H and buy out his contract.
Thank you. And that moo cow of his wife.
She's pregnant, you racist.
She. I mean, you want to talk about a middle linebacker or a Sam linebacker? Good God.
The McMahons are back in full force. You saw it on this past week's Raw. I tell you, folks, one of the best Raws I've seen in a long time. From the opening segment with Vince McMahon doing the Oscar award-winning performance.
And the new camera angle, too. That was throwing me.
Exactly.
But I
It's the
believed
pictures.
it. I
It
believed
was so well executed from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. And the McMahon involvement, everybody but Linda, was phenomenal. Frank, McMahons are back in full force. Help or hurt the product?
It'll help until WrestleMania, and then get them off TV as soon as possible. Because once you start driving them in each week, we've already seen that. It's regurgitated stuff. Get off to WrestleMania, and then start ending storylines. We don't need to see them every week.
Meet
I got to concur with Frank, but I also have to add.
You concur.
I also have to add
You concur.
that even though we don't have a general manager, Vince has still got to be around. So until they address the general manager issue, which they've basically dropped off the air over the last 2-3 months,
Frank forgot about it already. Because he's one of those fans.
We know. Vince is going to have to be around. Who's putting the matches together? You can't just assume that this stuff's all thrown together.
It's a good point, good point. Stephanie drugs Sean's drink. Shane McMahon attacks Sean.
Yeah,
Vince
the cameraman
McMahon-
doesn't stop that either. Hey, Sean,
The cameraman's not there, Frank. It's a remote thing. That's what
That's
happens.
Frank.
Oh, yeah, he's a fan. You become a Mark all of a sudden.
Mark
Reversal of
Constantine?
roles, if you will. WWE releases all of their juniors, midgets. They had the junior division on SmackDown. It popped up every now and then. Now all gone. All 6 released.
I'm
just
still
last week.
in shock over when the WWE released all their dicks. I mean the dicks. Excuse me. What are Chad and James?
The dicks.
Dick.
Frank?
What's the question?
WrestleMania so far, new matches announced this past week. Edge versus Foley is official. It's a hardcore matchup. Foley has ballooned to a whopping some 100 pounds, and interesting to see if he's going to be in game condition come WrestleMania Sunday in just a few weeks. Frank, that match, worth it or not?
Yeah, it'll be worth it, but who's going to be worth 2? It can only help Edge's career if he wins this thing. If it doesn't, it just ruins it all. Mick Foley, enough. You've done so much for wrestling. You don't need to get hit in the head of it with a chair anymore.
And it won't be as effective.
It's going to be a great match, but Mick, geez, you have a family. Stop.
You are Frank Ross. I mean Mark Constantine.
What has happened? This week a metamorphosis.
The man's got a family.
But you've seen what he's done in the past, and he doesn't need to do it anymore.
Meathead, Edge.
Again, concur.
concur.
Edge has to win the match, or if he loses to Foley, he has to destroy Foley afterwards. And what is it in for? What's in it for Foley, really? Except for to get back in the limelight, push another book, show everybody how fat you are.
We said here on this very program that the tag team championships were defended on Raw 2 weeks ago for a reason, to remind us that there were tag champions and in preparations for the announcement of the match. Carlito and Chris Masters back to their New Year's Revolution days of being friends and will form a tag team to go up against Kane and the Big Show. Certainly the dropping of the titles will occur at WrestleMania. That matches WrestleMania factor, Frank.
This be just part of the program, and as you just said, it's going to drop. Because it seemed like when was the last time the Big Show and Kane wrestled together on Raw?
Talked to each other even.
You know,
Well, Kane's got that thing.
Kane can talk now.
give Carlito a championship. The guy's got great charisma.
And he's cool.
And he's cool. And give him
And
a
then
run.
losing the titles. That's not cool. Big Show and Kane don't need the belts. And weren't Big Show and Kane supposed to be a heel tag team?
At first.
When they went around destroying
Maybe they're
SmackDown.
cleaners.
Destroying SmackDown.
Leader.
They were
Leader.
face on Raw, heel on SmackDown. What happened to the brands getting melded together?
Frank forgot about that.
Yeah, what happened to that?
That's WWE Talking Points, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Send us your comments via the message board, the forum, or via your electronic mail message.